All right, guys, today I'm going to break down for you exactly how to determine your property's MSA or Metro Statistical Area. This is a difficult concept for a lot of people. I know it was difficult for me in the beginning when I first started buying mobile home parks in different states and different markets, cities, counties, and trying to understand the economies and the inner workings of these different areas and understanding market research. And I just kind of figured the MSA was the nearest kind of engine city, the biggest city, and I would just pull my population and all my data from the nearest city. I wasn't actually using the legal metro statistical area, which is clearly defined on a very simple resource. You can use all one resource, bestplaces.net, to do your market research. And I'm going to show you exactly how I do my market research, what criteria components I use. Being in the mobile home park space and the affordable housing space, this applies to really affordable rentals and apartments as well. So we're buying a new property in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I'm going to do some market research on Fort Wayne. So as I enter over here, as you can see on bestplaces.net, I get a bunch of information. I get population, I get the growth, I get the median income, the median home price, the unemployment rate, age, and a plethora of other information. Now, you don't want to overcomplicate things. And again, Fort Wayne is actually not my MSA. Even though I have over a 250,000 population, this is not my MSA. This is just one city within the MSA. What is an MSA? An MSA is what has been legally defined as technically a cluster of counties and cities within one metro area, typically having over 50,000 population. And so, when there's smaller little areas, the government tries to lump those together for different purposes, and the banks look at that and buyers look at that. And so if you're pulling your market research and your your market analysis off of your actual city that your property is in, you might get some skewed results. And so we want to be going off the actual MSA, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. You just simply scroll down to Fort Wayne metro area. Oh, excuse me, I did that quickly. You scroll down to metro area. Quick facts, metro area, Fort Wayne metro area. We're going to click on that. As you can see, the numbers changed a little bit. Now we've got 429,000. The median home price went up. Median income went up. It's clumped some other nearby towns into that metro area, that MSA. So this is what we're going to use. This is what is our safest bet to do our market research, because it's what the banks and end buyers are going to look at. And so here's exactly how I do my market research. I'm going to jump over into my CRM, which is Podio. I use Podio. You don't have to use Podio. Although if you are doing any sort of serious volume, getting into real estate full time, you're going to want to use some sort of CRM at some point. So, but right now you can do this in a simple spreadsheet. And I'm actually going to show you how I do a very simple grading system to determine how strong a market is based on our criteria. We use, a few criteria points. We don't overcomplicate it. So I'm going to show you exactly how that's done. So we're going to go in here for the MSA name. I'm going to copy the actual MSA name, not the city, which is what? Fort Wayne metro area. Boom. The state is obviously Indiana. Population, 429,060. The median home price. Now, when it comes to population, guys, when it comes to mobile home parks and affordable housing and rental properties, typically what we look for is 100,000 plus population. And, that's just a safe rule of thumb, a safe benchmark to where, there's a strong enough economy that's supporting 100,000 people. There's going to be a demand for housing. So that's one benchmark. It's not an end all be all, but you want to be in markets that have a significant amount of people. We look for 100,000 or plus. That doesn't mean we won't go in markets under that. As you'll see with my grading system, they either get the criteria line either gets 1 point or it doesn't. So population's over 100,000, it gets a point. If it's under 100,000, it doesn't get a point. It doesn't necessarily kill the deal. So moving on, median home price, right? We look for a median home price over 100,000. Why? Because in order for there to be a demand for affordable housing, the home prices need to have somewhat significant price tags on them, right? It needs to be somewhat expensive to purchase a home in order for there to be a demand for affordable housing. And the same applies for rent. We want to look for places that rent 3-bed rentals, because that's your average mobile home is a 3-bed rental. We want to look for places that have an average 3-bed rental of 1,000 and up. Because again, so we're going to click on cost of living here on the left, scroll down, hover over our metro. So we're looking at our metro line. We're going to look at 3 bedrooms. 3 bedrooms renting for $1,002. Great. Again, we look for markets that rent for 1,000 and up. That'll get a point on my grading system, because again, 1,000 and up, there's a demand for affordable housing. The higher the rent, the higher the home price, the higher the demand. Right? 10-year population change, growth over 10 years. For that, we're going to go to the overview. Back over to the overview. Is the population growing for? Now, what do we look for here? This has a 4.1% growth over the last 10, population growth over the last 10 years. What do we look for here? Really, we just look for growth in general. 1% plus, that'll get a point. We look for 1% plus because we want to see a population that has, is growing to some extent. Obviously, the more, the merrier. But when populations are declining, then, again, for us, it doesn't necessarily kill a deal at this time in our investing, but it definitely means we're going to do some more due diligence and figure out why exactly people are leaving in town, and what's the reasoning for that. And so this has nice healthy growth, 4.1% over the last 10 years. 10-year appreciation. Obviously, most markets are going to be appreciating in home value, right? So for that, we scroll down, see how much it's been appreciating over the last 10 years. As you can see, 9.4%. So I'm going to go back and type that in. My 10-year appreciation has been 9.4%. Now, with the appreciation, we're typically looking for about a 1% year over year. That's about what we look for. We want to see markets. I'll give a point to a market that's appreciating 1% year over year. So this one almost makes the cut, but really I'd want to see at least a 10% appreciation over 10 years. So for violent crime, now I want to look at crime data. Violent crime, both violent crime and property crime. So for that, you guessed it, I'm going to click on crime, and I'm just going to pop down to, here we go, gives it to me right here, Fort Wayne Metro. Violent crime, 17.8, and property crime, 36. Now, what do we look for here? Typically, markets that are under 50, right? I want to be under 50 crime points. And so anything in parentheses that you see on the left here, guys, these are U.S. averages, just for reference. So this one's not going to make the cut. This is not going to get a point. This one's a little high in crime. Again, nothing crazy or major alarming. This is just over 50, almost 54 points. And so that's a benchmark for us. It's a little bit, we want to be a little bit under the U.S. average for crime, right? Then you're it's a safe bet. Crime's not a deal killer. There's crime pretty much in any urban area you look into, and so you just want to look into that and see, is it being cleaned up? Is it on the decline? Unemployment, right? U.S. average is 3.7. What do we look for? 5% and below. This has a nice 3.4% unemployment rate. Not too much explanation there. We just want to make sure people are working so they can pay rent, obviously, right? There's a demand for jobs, but even more importantly, job growth, right? Like unemployment, but our jobs growing Are they expanding? Is there new employers coming in? Is there projections for future development of more jobs? And so to look at that, we're going to hover over to job market down here, and everything's right here for us. Unemployment rate 3.4, recent job growth 2.67. As you can see, that's higher than the U.S. average. What do we look for in recent job growth? Just 1% or more. Just want to see some sort of growth there. So that's 2.67. Oops. Future job growth 36.43. As you can see, that's also higher than the average, U.S. average. And typically there, I just want to see 30% or more. 30% future job growth. And so then we're going to, I need to post this link here. This is link. Obviously post your links in your spreadsheet so you have it for direct access. Now, as you can see, I like to copy this description too. Sometimes they give me a just general description of the market. This is real nice. You could read through this, copy it, refine it how you want. Now, as you can see, once I save this, it's going to score this up for me, and I'll walk you through exactly how it scored it. Let's see, 78. So that's really high. That's going to be one of my higher scoring markets. And I'm going to show you how that works here. So I give a point, as I mentioned. I give a point if there's more than 100,000 population. I give a point if there's 100,000 or more home value. I give a point if rent is 1,000 or more. A point if there's been a growth in population of 1% or more. I look for appreciation, right? I want more than 1% a year. I look for less than 50 points in crime, right? Unemployment, 5% or less. Recent job growth, 1% or greater. And then future job growth, 30% or greater. So then I tally that up. As you can see, there's 9 data points here, 9 criteria points. So I just tally those up, divide it by 9, and I've got my total, 7 out of 9, and that gives me a score, and I can turn that into a percentage, 78%, right? So essentially that's it, guys. That's it. The resource, again, you can look through a lot of these other resources. Of course, you can go do more market research, but this gives a lot of information on schools. There's a lot more information on politics, the weather, lots of different things. And of course, we go into deeper due diligence and once we're out on site, diving more into the economics and different things. However, this is a great resource to get an overview of your property and the market, the metro market that it's in. I hope this was helpful. Go ahead and like and subscribe, and feel free to share if you think it'll be helpful to someone else. See you guys on the next video.